Good morning. All right, so hand today is going to be pocket queens. We are down to 7-handed. I'm technically in middle position, and I open raise to 5 big blinds after a limper. It's my mid position opening range. I think with one limper, it's fine. We can probably do this. Note behind us, we do have a loose passive. Actually, at least 2 loose passives, possibly even 3 loose passives. And the blinds look to be loose passive as well. This one seems to be a little bit more aggressive with 38-19, but definitely loose players. So versus all these loose players, I could probably kind of restrict some of my weaker hands, maybe the suited connectors, maybe the small pocket pairs, because we assume we're going to be getting called by at least one player. Sure enough, we get called by 2. We get called by the button, big blind, and the big blind. So the relevant player is button. He is playing 46-7. I've got 458 hands on him. He's playing 46-7. When we look at the button, he is basically playing 50% of hands, 30 out of 60 from the button. His pre-flop raise is 12%. His 3-bet is 1 out of 24. So if we look at his called to 2-bet stat, it's 20 or 38%, so 9 out of 24. I think he is calling. I think he can 3-bet, and based on his 3-bet stats, I do have that he has 3-bet down to pocket sevens and ace queen off. So what I did was kind of figure out a fairly wide range that he's calling to see a board, to see a flop. He's 3-bet at least pocket sevens, so I think sevens and up he's 3-betting. Ace queen plus he's 3-betting. I don't know if he's doing ace jack or king queen or any more of those. So we're gonna go with this range. Flop comes out 10-5-2. First player checks. We are now 3-way. I think this is a pretty standard c-bet with my queens. We have an overpair. I think we could easily have 10s. I don't think villain 4 has 10s. Villain 6 could possibly have 10s, 5s, or 2s. I think there's a flush draw. I think we're betting to get some value. I think some weaker hands could call. This isn't really a board that's going to hit most of our big hands, so I think we can get a call. Definitely villain 4 fold to c-bets 47% when out of position and 47 when he's in position, so I don't think he's folding. He's not really going to be folding on the turn, so I think if he catches any piece of it, he's going to be calling. For this reason, I think we probably could have scaled up and bet like 2/3 or 3/4 pot, knowing that he's going to be calling so wide. We assume he's indifferent to the bet sizes when he makes a call, but I think we could bet a little bit larger here. However, that third player kind of throws a wrench in things, because we're not quite sure what villain 6 is going to be doing. And I'm sure the GTO strategy, the GTO solve will change based on that player. So we bet half pot, he called, and the big blind also called. The turn was the 6 of diamonds. We do have the queen of diamonds, so we do have a blocker there. Villain 6 checks. I chose to bet here. I bet more than half pot here. So with that more than half pot bet, we are trying to set the stage now to charge. We think this player is going to be calling with spades. I think he could possibly be calling if he backed into diamonds. I think he's going to call if he has jack 10 or queen 10 or something like that. Not sure what villain 6 is going to do. Maybe he came along because he had a pocket pair. Maybe he had 7s or 8s or 6s or 4s, and some of them, if he had 6s, he just connected. Has trips, and I think if he does, we're gonna see the raise here, but he doesn't. We just called, so it's now we're heads up, and then the 8 of spades gets there. 5, 6, 8, 10 with 3 spades out there. I chose to check. I think I was planning to check call. You can see the pot's 95. I've got 58.48. I think if I bet, villain's probably just going to be folding. Miss diamonds. He would probably call the 10, so I'm curious to see what GTO says. But again, we're going to be messed up here because we had that third player in the hand. So let us check this out. Now I set up the tree where we're betting 50% pot. We can modify it based on our turn raise, but right off the bat, it does look like we are going to be betting here, c-betting here. We're betting 98.6% of the time. I think with versus 3 players, we're probably going to be checking some of these hands that miss. I mean, we do, for example, like 9-8. I mean, you need backdoor straights to hit. 9-7 backdoor straights to hit. And having these middle cards then block our opponents from having those cards too. So I'm going to say I think our bet's okay. And then Villain had to decide whether he's going to raise or call. His raise should come as a set and a few top pairs, but mostly he's going to be calling or folding. So he did call. And we had a 6 of diamonds come out. Now it's on us. Now it looks like we are checking more. We're checking more, I believe, because we have we basically c-bet our entire range. I think we're going to be do some check calling here. So if we check and he bets, we are going to be calling. We're raising with trips, 6s, 5s. We're going to be raising with some of our over pairs. We're going to be calling with aces. So with aces we're going to check, and I think aces is that check call. Is that check call range. Calling with some open-enders, with some gut shots. 9-8 is actually going to be a fold unless we have diamonds or spades. So gut shot along with the flush draws. What did we do? So this was a turn. Now this was half pot bet. So I did bet, and we can with jacks, queens, kings. We've got that over. It's perfectly fine to go ahead and bet. Maybe bet a little bit more if we have the queen of spades. Makes it less likely he's on that flush draw and probably has like a 10. So I think our bet's fine. Villain should be raising straights, 3 of a kinds, 2 pairs type hands. But we didn't see it. We didn't see that raise. He just called. So 8 of spades comes out. And again, just this turn was based on half pot bet. So then on the river, on that board, it does look like we're supposed to be betting here. We've got queen of diamonds, queen of hearts. I think we go for some value here. Just bet jacks, queens, kings, aces. I think we're allowing him. And if we think about the flushes, he's got 20 combos of flushes, but he's got 51 combos of 2 pairs, so 2/3 at least. 2/3 of his hands, well, more. When we think about top pair, he'll call top pair. That's we'll say 52 combos, and then 2 pair plus is dealing with 32 combos. So there's more, 60%, 65% of his combos that I assume would be calling top pair plus, we beat. So I think that's why we are betting here to get value from those hands. Now, we checked, which was incorrect. So we should have gone for value. What hands do we check? Well, we check ace 10, king 10, queen 10, because again, I think if he's going to call with top pair, we beat with ace 10. We could raise, but at the same time, we can use those hands as kind of a bluff catch because we do have some value, showdown value. Whereas with the over pairs, it's still 1 pair. We're going for those top pair hands that might not bet. And I think that's possibly what happened to us, is that he had maybe jack 10. He has a showdown hand. Why would he bet now and risk facing a check raise? So we saw a board. He shows queen 10, which was that top pair. So now let's change our tree. Well, let's see here. Did he have queen 10? Yeah, he's got some of these queen 10s here that he called. Definitely in his range. Let us change our tree and make that, I think that was probably 67% pot, so a little bit higher. Let us run the solver and we will be back. All right, so reran the solver. Still looks like we're betting. And I believe it's just because we've got a much stronger range. So we're going to be betting 98.3%. Villain's going to be folding here. 42% of the time, calling more. So I mean, I think that's in his proper range, or at least it matches his stats. He fold to c-bet by 47%. So he calls, and now we're back to our betting. We're betting larger here, about 2/3 pot. Still, it's arguing that we should be betting. I'm going to say it does look like King Queen, King Jack, King 10. We're betting these overcards here when we have the spade and the diamond draw, but with the equivalent ace jack, ace queen, ace king, we're checking those instead. So I'm gonna bet we call with those. Yep, we're check calling with those. Our check raising are those few times that we have jacks, queens, and kings. I wonder, along with 10s, 6s, and 5s. Some of the 10s, 6s, and 5s. 10s more likely to check raise there. 6s and 5s are probably betting a little bit more frequently. Ace 3, ace 4, I think are okay. We're using that as gut shot. A little bit more likely to check if we had the spade draw, because we block some of those. Trip 2s looks to be a check raise here. Yep. So trips. 2 pair 2 with 5-6. It seems to be a check raise. Just straight up check raise. So on this board, he probably has like a 10. It's my guess. Maybe spade. If we check and he checks behind, I think that helps to narrow his range, because I think a 10 top pair hand, maybe even 9s, will want to try to bet and charge any spade draw to get there, or even to try to get a little bit more value from their 1 pair hand. All right, so I do think his range is probably close. Does it change if we narrow it down? Well, we could check. We call, or we raised. We're early position, so maybe he is going to be a lot more cautious. Doesn't really match his stats though. Let's say something like this. Let's build this tree and see if we change his, if we narrow his range, is that going to alter how we play this hand? And of course, some players will call with these suited gappers, suited connectors here instead of raising. Some of them will have those offsuits as well. So I think this could be realistic. So I'm going to run the solver and we'll be back. All right, we are back. So now versus that tighter range, we start to check a little bit more pre-flop, but we still going to be aggressive with our overcards or jacks. And the reason with those overcards is we do have equity. I think we could fire that second barrel if any Broadway card comes out. Notably, the ace king, ace queen, ace jack tends to prefer checking a little bit more than betting. I think we do have some value here with check calling with those hands. So I think if we check and he bets, we are going to be calling with a lot of those hands, definitely with spades and with diamond draws. These hands, not really a bluff, but they're helping. We're protecting those with 10s, with some of the 10s that we check, with some well, I guess 5s, 2s and 5s, trip 2s and trip 5s we're betting. We're going to check raise with hands like ace 2, ace 3, ace 5, ace 4, ace 5, which seems strange, but I mean, GTO says it, especially with spades. So I think ace 4, ace 3, definitely spade draw, gut shot. I think we have a pretty decent hand. And the check, again, those are bluffs, but we could also have some jacks, queens, and kings in there too. So I think our bet's going to be fine. He calls. That is 6 of diamonds. And then on the turn, we also kind of slow down on our betting, but kings, queens, jacks, we can bet now. you know, with the wider range, we check aces. Here we can start betting some of the aces, and especially betting when we have the ace of spades. We know that he's not going to have the nut flush. So if the flush card gets there and villain has a flush, we block that. We block the nuts there. We're betting king, queen, king, jack. Those are spades and diamonds. More likely to do it with the diamonds. Some of our top pair hands, I bet we are checking those. Or check calling those. All right. But we can check raise like the 10s, the 5s, the 6-5s, the 2s, the 6s. Where did those come from? Are we betting 6s? Yeah, we're basically always going to be betting these 6s now that we hit trips. That's going to help to balance out the king, queen, king, jack, queen, queen 10. So I still think we're on track. We're making correct bets. And then we got the 8 of spades that comes out. And again, go for value, because again, his top pair hands, the combos, is going to well exceed the two pair plus combos. And I kind of think it's going to be more likely that he checks behind with these top pair hands than that he bets himself, just like what we saw here. So I think if we bet, we get another street of value from him because he's got those top pairs. I can't be scared of the flush because it just represents a small percentage of his hands. Well, not small percentage. I mean, 50 versus 12. 22%, 23% of his hands. However, when we think about the hands that he calls versus bets himself, I think he calls with more of these top pair than he bets, so we can get some extra value. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. If you like this, look tomorrow for another hand.